So it's getting recorded, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So first question is like a minimum cost required to hire K workers. So n workers are given, and the quality of each other worker is given in an array quality of I, and their minimum wage expectation wage wage array is there. Now we are supposed to hire exactly K workers to form a paid group, and while hiring a group of K workers, we must pay them according to the rules. Every worker in the paid group should be paid in the ratio of their quality compared to other workers in the paid group, and every worker in the paid group must be paid at least their minimum wage expectation. So we are supposed to find the least amount of money that is needed to form a paid group satisfying the those two conditions above conditions. So here like two workers we have to select. So we are paying 70 to 0th and 35 to the second worker. So sum total is to 105. And similarly for that. And coming to some of the constraints, answers within 10 raised to minus 5 of correct will be considered correct. Okay, yeah.
Why is that 10 raised to minus 5? What it says?
Yeah, that is what I was having. Answers within 10 raised to minus 5 of correct answers will be considered correct.
That is the precision, I think, because the final value would be a float value, double value.
But is
Oh, okay.
decimal, after decimal, how many digits you want, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like this one, 5
Yeah,
digits.
there are 5 digits. But we are not supposed to actually do anything with those digits, right? We just return whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so is the question really clear? Because even if you look at the example one, okay,
Yeah.
so he says like we pay the 70, that is the 0th worker, that is $70, whatever it is, or and 35 to the second worker, means
Okay.
second index worker, two index workers. So it is like, but here it is shown, I think the wages are the minimum wages what they are shown here, right?
Yeah.
So, but then why they are paying 35 here?
Because there has to be a ratio.
Uh-huh.
So if you pay your first worker something, you have to pay exactly half to the second worker. Because if you take the ratio of this array, quality array, so the value for 0 is 10 and quality of 2 is 5. Right?
Okay. Uh-huh. So you are saying like the 0th
So,
worker, the quality is 10. Okay.
Basically,
so
whatever we pay to
2:1 is the ratio. Like for
right
0th worker
for the
is
second it is 5. So whatever you pay to yeah to the 0th, then we have to pay 35 to the second one.
yeah. So two he's maintaining the same ratio, right? So for the last second worker and the 0th worker, the ratio is 2:1.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the same way the wages are paid. Like if the 0th worker is paid 70, then the other one will be paid half of 70.
Right. So if you pay half of 70, that would be
35.
35. Right. So if you
Yeah.
add these two, you 105.
105. Yeah.
So they have selected the 0th and the last worker, right? But
Yeah.
Right.
but if you look at the wages, the last two are better in terms of wages. Uh,
Right. So if we select the
No,
last two, so let's take that
because
example. If
okay,
we
okay.
select the last two, then whatever we pay to the second worker, we have to pay 4 times to the first worker. So if
Yeah.
we pay 30 to the second worker, then we have to pay 30 into 4, 120 to the second worker, because the ratio is this 5 is to 20, 1 is to 4.
Yeah. That will be
That
okay.
is
great.
what.
Mhm. But if you do it the other way, because you for the 20th one, okay, the quality 20 is 50, right? If you pay 50, based on that ratio, if we pay this
Right.
guy,
Right. So you will pay 1/4 of 50 to the second worker, right?
mhm.
But that would be less than 30.
Okay, then can we just not take that 30 in that case, the minimum wage?
No, we have to strictly follow this ratio as per the first point.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are saying in this also, like when we are taking the last two, we need to find the ratios of both of them, and whichever is the greater one that we have to follow, right? Something like that.
Greater, greater than minimum, it should be at least.
Right. So two
Yeah.
conditions. We have to follow the ratio and they have to be greater than or equal to the minimum.
Minimum. Because the way you were saying, Santosh, it was 25 was lesser. That's why we avoided that case, right? The other way around, what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we inverted the case like 20. I mean, 5 is to 20. But I mean, what is it? 1 is to 4. That amount will be greater than 105. So we selected this.
Hmm. Okay.
It's
So
a little bit
those,
difficult. Like,
so yeah, so the two conditions are now yes, getting clear. Okay, after discussing with you guys. So
yeah,
first, what the first condition says that we need to actually create a ratio, okay, for whatever worker you want, correct, and then you actually you select number of workers. In that, you actually form ratios for all of them, and whichever is the greater one, right? You try to pay as per that ratio, correct? Am I correct? What my
Yeah.
understanding? Mhm.
yeah.
Close. We have to take one worker which would be guiding the entire set.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So then this looks okay. Yeah. Then now it is making more sense after going through all of that. Yeah. Or else it was. Yep.
So yeah, brute force would be like mm, try all the combinations, right?
Yeah. So okay, in the brute force, what we can do now? Okay. Now actually making sense what actually they are talking in the solution also. So what Harshil was saying, or you also saying, right? First, actually find a ratio of one worker. Okay, maybe if it's you're starting from a brute force, right? The way they are doing it is like you take the first worker, maybe you start a for loop at the very top level, and then you form a ratio of that particular worker, and then based on that ratio, you try to find wages for all other workers, which are actually greater than. Okay, the wages should be lesser than because when you have a ratio of particular worker and then you actually take the quality of that worker and then you find its wages, if it is lesser, okay, then you don't consider, right? But if it is greater based on the quality of the one work what you are actually taking as a benchmark, if it is greater, then you actually put them in an array or something like that, make a what you say, a particular bucket of all those workers, and then whichever the first k, right? Because the way I look at this problem is, we should actually take a worker whose wages are lesser and he has a good quality, correct? So that is what the ratio comes into picture. Because if the quality is greater and the ratio is like wages by ratio equality. So if the quality is greater, the factor is the ratio is going to be smaller, correct? And even the wage is smaller, then the ratio is still going to be smaller. So whenever the ratio is smaller, is always good for us, right? So actually, we collect all those prices based on that, and then we take the first minimum values, right? So that will be the best for us,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we will repeat the same thing for all each and every worker. So that might be a sort of a brute force.
So you will first calculate the ratio in the quality itself, like divide by 5. So 2 is to 4 is to 1, right?
Yeah, so in this case, we can start with the first one, 10 wage by quality, right? 70 by 10. Okay,
So
so
that
if
ratio you are calculating. Okay.
I'm talking about the brute force. Okay, so
No, I thought
7.
you are calculating the ratio among the workers. I mean, 10 is to 20 is to 5, I thought. But you are calculating quality I with wage I, right?
Wage, so it will be wage by quality will be the ratio, no?
Yeah, wage by quality. Yeah.
Ratio of quality
Right.
compared to the, yeah. So if we take 70 by 10, so our current ratio will be 7. Okay, and then we actually go and look for each and every worker, right? So our ratio is 70 by 10. So in that case, we might go for the worker whose quality is 20. So 7 multiplied by 20. So whatever that comes to 140 in that case, right?
140. Yeah.
Okay. So 140 is greater, right? So we should consider that one
Right.
because he'll be getting paid as 140. And then the similar thing what we do for the other also.
Right. Right.
And then we form a list of all those things and then try to find whichever is the minimum of the key values and then take that answer because we'll have to add those numbers, right? So that will be our actually wages what we are going to pay as a group. So that will
Yeah.
form a group and then just calculate a minimum so far because we have to do this for each and every worker. Like now we started for the worker whose quality was 10, then we go for the worker with quality 20 and repeat the same thing for all of them. Starting from again from when we take the second, like the 20 as a quality, we start again from 10. We skip 20 though.
No, we
And
take
then,
20 also, no? Because that would also be a part of your group.
oh, okay. Yeah, we have to. Okay, okay. But yeah, either we can actually skip and just add that also. Yeah, but yeah, makes sense. So in that case, the price will be same for that. Okay, yeah. So at least you have to have a minimum based on that ratio, that value you have to
Right.
attain.
We'll try out for every ratio,
Yeah.
and whatever the minimum we get, we return it.
Yeah. So this will be the sort of a brute force, and then we'll have to optimize this one, right?
Yeah. At the
Yeah.
end, we can also sort this, like whatever prices we have, wages we have accumulated in our array,
Mm-hmm.
because we want the k minimum ones, right? So we can sort that array and pick the first k.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. That is what the sorting is. Okay.
But that won't change the order. Or ratio you are telling sorting.
No. Once you have the wage, like you start with your first worker and then you find out the wage for the second worker, that was 140, right? And for the
Yeah.
first one it was 70. So we have two workers now, that the cost would be like 70 and the other would be 140. So and initially as we go on, this array would keep on increasing. So what we do is we sort this array because we want the minimum wage, and then take the first k first k elements and then add those elements.
Can we actually, write this on the screen?
Yeah, that will be better. Like,
Okay, I'll start with the now with the same example. Okay, the first one, 10, 25, 70, 50, and 30. Okay, for the first case, okay, so we have the ratio of 7, correct?
Right.
So the 7 comes by 70 divided by 10. Okay, so now if we start with again with worker first, in that case, what we have the price what they say, right? So the price of the first one in this case, so we'll have this first, then second and third worker. So price of this will be okay. It will be the same, right? 7
70.
multiplied by 10, which will be 7 multiplied by 10 will be 70. And in the second, it will be 7 multiplied by
20. No, 2, 2. Sorry, 20 it should be.
7 multiplied by 20, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this will be 7 multiplied by
5.
5. So these are our prices. So this will be 70 and this will be 140 and this will be 35. Okay. And then what we do is actually look for the price. So the current price actually should be greater than the worker wage, correct? So in this 70 is greater, so we will consider this value. Okay, this 140 is also greater. So we'll consider all of them, right, in this case?
Right.
Okay.
With whom you are comparing?
So we are actually having this ratio, no? So that
Okay.
will be indirectly comparing with the 0th worker. Okay. So now the way Harshit said, we have to actually sort them. So when we sort them, it will be 35, 70 and 140. Right. And our K is 2. So we just take 35 plus 70 in this case. So our min so far is 105. Okay, which is our answer in this case. But we still have to do for the case 2 again, right? In this case and case 3 also. So in case 2, it will be like 50 divided by 20, correct? So the ratio will be 2.5. And if you do the pricing here again, so the pricing will be 2.5 multiplied by 10, okay? And then 2.5 multiplied by 20 and 2.5 multiplied by 5. So in this case, this will be 25.
Yeah.
And this will be something like 25 and 250, right? And in this case will be 12.5, right?
Yeah.
Now if you see, if you compare the 50 with our 70, this doesn't fit, right? So this won't be considered. So if we, this is okay, this can be considered because it is 50 is the minimum at least. And this also won't be considered. Now if you look at the values, we have only one value, but our K is 2, right? So this case actually doesn't fit at all,
I
correct?
didn't get that part. Why you are crossing on what basis?
Okay, so now if you see 25, you compare with this wage, right?
Okay.
So the
Okay.
0 is 70 here. So his minimum wage starts with 70,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
but we are only paying him 25. So he won't accept the offer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So at least you have to have 50. So 50, sorry, at least you have to minimum wage here. So only 50 matches in this case because this guy is also lower.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense now.
So in this case, it doesn't fit even the value K equals 2. So this case goes away. So then we'll have to do for a case 3 also, right? So in the
Yeah.
case 3, it will be 6, right?
Yes.
So if we do 6 into 10, okay, and then 6 into 20, and then 6 into 5. So this will be 30, and this will be 120, and this will be 60.
60.
So we don't consider this, we consider this one and this one.
So it will cross 150.
Yeah, so it will be more
Minimum.
like 30 plus 150, and therefore this will be 150 and this will be 105. So the minimum of these two is only 105, and therefore we
That
get
is
the
the answer.
value 105,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's more clearer after
Yeah.
writing.
So yeah, it is based on the whatever they have said in the solution, right? So that is exactly the way they did, and therefore they are sorting at the end.
So
I have one
thing
question
I'm
here.
confused on this. So in the first example, Santosh, we took them as 70, 140, and 75, right?
Yeah, 70, 140, and 35.
Right. So if instead of 140, had it been say 40, right? So
Uh-huh.
we would have 70, 40, and 35. So in that case, the minimums would have been 35 and 40.
No, 40 you can't take because first worker
I'm
is
just,
having
So he's
50.
saying
I just,
example, the hypothesis. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
so we would have to remove the first element, like the first worker that we have chosen for the ratio part.
Right. Yeah.
Would that be a problem because we are going by some ratio and we are removing that worker only?
Actually, see, if we are actually taking a ratio of a worker, that particular worker, so that worker won't go away because that is the baseline, right? And then when you actually multiply that with its quality, you will get the same wage, which is supposed to be paid for all the workers which are lesser than that ratio. Correct. Because we want to, we are actually trying to choose a worker. So whatever ratio we have, so we are trying to choose all the workers whose ratios are lesser than or equal to this ratio every time. So if you look here also, now in this case, when we say 7, we are in all of them, we are trying to find out all the ratios indirectly whose ratios are lesser than or equal to this 7. Everywhere we do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I have one question. In case 2, right? For the last one, you have multiplied 2.5 with 5.
Mhm.
That is 12.5.
Mhm.
Now the minimum wage expectation of that worker is 30.
Mhm.
So we can add 50 and 30 to get 80. I mean, what is the problem there?
Well,
You can't. Okay, go ahead.
okay, so you see the ratio what we calculated for case 2 is based on like you have this 50 over here, right, in the wage,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
20. Okay, so 50 divided by 20 is 2.5. So
Right.
then we are using this ratio and we are actually multiplying this with all the qualities of each and every worker, right? So 2.5 into 10 into 2.5 into 20 and 2.5 into 5.
Right.
Okay. So then when we, whatever the minimum wages we are getting, okay, we can just compare, sorry, whatever the wages we are getting, all these 25, 50 and 12.5, we have to compare them with the minimum wages what we have been given, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
if we are paying a worker any wage which is equal to his minimum wage or more than, then only he will accept that offer, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So whoever workers, if we say that we are going to pay you only 12.5, okay,
Yeah.
but his minimum wage is 30, he's not going to accept the offer.
So my question is, we can pay him 30, and then we have a combo of 50 plus 30.
Well, okay, so the way we are trying to do, it's not the way we are paying. We actually are trying to pay based on its quality.
Oh, okay.
So because what we are doing is we are actually taking a ratio of a particular worker at one time based on his quality. We are trying, because we want to be very fair with everyone. So whatever
Okay.
the workers we choose, so
Right. Right.
whatever the quality he does, the same work, the wage we have to pay for the others also based on his quality, because that becomes a benchmark now, right?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So if we decide to pay him 30, we'll have to correspondingly increase for the second worker also.
Right, right. Then you'll have to actually add that, then this guys will be boosted up. So then actually we'll be at loss. We also don't want to be at loss, right?
So what I think is at least one of the payment, right? They have to be minimum. Like in first 70 is the minimum wage. In second 35 is the 40 is the minimum, or 50. 50 is the minimum, and in third 30 is the minimum. So we fix the minimum, and then with respect to it we calculate the other two, because if it was not minimum, right, suppose 70 was not 70, it was 75, then we can still bring down 75 to 70, like there is a chance. And since we are trying to calculate the minimum, that's why like we have to keep one of the uh, minimum wage as minimum.
Right, right, right. Yeah, because that is what we start with. Yeah, you are right. So indirectly it comes to that. Yeah, that is true. So we start with that one and then say, okay, this is our minimum wage. We are going to pay the same wage as per his quality for all of you, and whether that is acceptable, you guys come in or you don't, right? And so based on whatever we get, we just find whatever is the least of case, and then we use them. Yeah,
Right.
Harshit is
So
saying that.
better way to just to add to what Vivek says, I think it would be like if we say that we are looking for that worker which has the least this W by Q, then I mean that would be the what is guiding worker. According to that worker, we'll try to make the group.
Yeah. Right.
Because if it was not minimum, then we can minimize it further. Like there is a chance to minimize, like if any one of them is not minimum, there is a chance we can minimize it further. to get the same ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we are talking on decimals, like since the inputs and all are double, so we can minimize it at least to that value. For the
Right,
minimum
right,
value.
right. Yeah, but this is not very straightforward, right? Even okay, we could analyze it based on whatever the solutions they are actually talking about. But if we just look at the wages and quality, okay, so it's not very straightforward to come with any solution, even with the brute force, right?
Yeah.
Because it's very tricky. Like the wages are supposed to be, we need to pick up the minimum wages, but the quality has to be good, right? So we have to actually pick up the optimum out of both of them. So because we want to be also not at, we should not pay more, right? So we have to pay something optimum. So therefore they are taking the ratio in that case, and that makes more sense.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, so this is the brute force. So how about doing the way it is said, like you can optimize it further, right? We can use some data structure. So because now we are actually sorting over here, and it becomes like we go through each and every worker. It's like n square, and then we do the sorting also. So n square into then maybe sorting will be again n into n log n. That is what they say, right? So n log n
Yep.
comes for this sorting.
Merge sort.
Yeah, and then we actually go for all of the cases. So n into n log n, so it becomes n square log n. So we should be able to use some data structure and then optimize it.
Yeah, they're using heaps in the solution. Like they, I mean,
Yeah.
on the cost which you have got on that, they might be using heaps to select the K. I mean, now the question becomes like select first two minimum numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. Like I just saw.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, that is what I was also
Oh,
going through some
this
of
is
the
what I.
solutions. Yeah.
So this is what they are calculating the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quality into. I mean, whatever you explained till now.
Mm-hmm.
They're segregating the quality into one place. So overall formula is this. I mean, summation of total, what you say, WI might be representing the cost that is equal to ratio into the summation of the quality of each workers.
Ratio into summation. Okay. Yeah, that is what Harsh is also talking about in the chat,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah, exactly. And now they are telling in order to minimize the wage to pay for K workers team, you need to minimize W by Q and this. Yeah, both because it's a multiplication. If both the quantity are minimum, then overall we'll get the minimum value.
Okay.
So we can iterate a sorted team with order this, okay, and keep retain K workers who have lowest qualities. We can use maximum max heap to retain the K lowest qualities. Okay, once the time it reaches K, we update our cost as minimum of this.
Okay. So what he's trying to say in this case, I think, like you find all the ratios for each and every worker. Correct.
Okay,
So in our case, we have that, okay, if we have all these ratios again, I'll just draw it again here. So we have this 70 by 10, right? So this is 7, and the other is 50 by 20, which is 2.5. And this guy was 30 by 5, right? So which
yeah,
is 6. Okay, so then we sort this one, right? That is what you're saying. Sorted team of W by Q, correct?
yeah, they are
So,
sorting, yeah.
yeah, so then we'll have 2.5, 6, and 7. Correct.
Okay, yeah.
And
And
then when we do this, then we actually use a heap. So that will be the max heap he is talking.
so
So, mhm.
heap is running on quality.
No, the ratio.
No, he's right. What Shashank is saying, maximum heap to retain cake qualities.
K lowest
Okay,
qualities.
so now we have this one sorted. Okay, so we can actually maybe in this one we can have some this sorted array. We can have some pair which will be corresponding. This ratio will be corresponding to each of its quality, right? So the here the quality is 20, and this quality is 5, right? And this quality is, we can have something like a pair. Okay. So when we are actually putting in the heap, we actually go with this sorted array, okay, with the ratios, because we have this ratio sorted. So it means that we are actually picking up optimum quality and optimum rate, right?
Yeah.
So if we go by that, then if we push in that heap with the qualities, right, 50 and plus, sorry, 20 plus 5, okay. So in this case, it will be 25, right? So when we are actually having this 25, currently now what is the quality, the overall quality of these two workers, because k equals 2, and then we have pushed that in the queue, in the heap. And why we are pushing the heap, will come to that later, I think, because once first if we do that 25, and then we can use this factor, which is because this 6 factor, if we multiply it by 25, which will be the total number of wage we can actually give for these two workers, and that will be the optimum in these two cases. So this will, if it is 150, okay, so we can say currently our answer so far is 150,
So
okay,
why you are multiplying with 6?
because if we take this ratio 2.5, 6 is a bigger ratio, right, than 2.5.
Yeah.
Right. So if we pay as per this ratio for both of these workers, so they will accept that offer. Okay, because this is going to be more than or equal to the minimum wages of each and every worker.
Yeah. Yeah, the ratio is bigger, yes.
Yeah. So once we get 150 in this case, so now our heap is only of size 2 in this case, because k equals 2. So then when we come for the next one, the third one, and when we put that in the heap, so our heap actually, but when we are putting in the heap, we are putting as per the quality, right? So here the heap was 20 and 5. Now when we put 7 in this case, so what it will be, 20, 7 and 5. Okay. So this is more than 2. So we'll have to remove one of it, right? So we will remove 20 of that. So now
No,
what?
25 and 10 it should be, right?
Uh, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
20, it should be 10, correct? Yeah, instead
yeah.
of
Yeah,
7, I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
20, 10 and 5. Okay, so then you remove 20. So now your heap, if we look at it, it will be 15, correct? So 10 plus 5. So that will be our quality here. So then 15 multiplied by this ratio, at this time, this
Yes.
will be the last one. So if we multiply by this will be 105, right? And so if we
Yeah.
compare this with minimum so far, okay, so our answer will be 105. And
So
therefore,
you are multiplying with bigger ratio to make sure that the cost which you get should be greater than the minimum of every wage. I mean, individual worker, right? That cost should be minimum than
yeah,
greater than the minimum of each of the individual worker.
right.
Okay.
So therefore, that heap actually is very much useful over here. And we are using a max heap of k equals 2, max heap of size equals k actually, right?
Yeah.
So whenever we push in, we just look at whatever the uh, what do you say, whatever the qualities what we have in that heap, we just add them, and if we multiply whatever with the last ratio what we have pushed in, so we will be getting the most optimum answer. So the same way what we did earlier, right? Instead of sorting, we are using a heap in this case.
Heap is also sorting only, no?
Yeah, but actually this will happen in n log n almost, correct? It's not going to be n square log n the way we did it earlier, because we were doing actually finding all of them together and then sorting it every time. But this will be almost like n log n, correct?
But we are sorting cost also, that ratio cost 2.567, right?
Mm,
Yeah, it would be n log n plus n log k.
And it will be n log n only at last.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then only you are able to push that, no? I mean, corresponding 2.5, 20, 6 to 5, and 7 to 10.
mhm.
So I don't know how heap is here, like, yeah.
So
Uh,
heap is used to it is being used to select that W by Q candidate, because when you sort this array, so basically our cost is this, right? W by Q into total quality. So our sorted sequence has, I mean, we are sorting in ascending order. So we are keeping the lower qualities first, because W by Q less means Q is more, right?
Yeah.
So we are taking the, we are kind of playing with these two things, W by Q and the total quality.
Total quality, I didn't get what you mean. Oh, this 2510.
In the cost expression, as it's there in this, you only said something. Yeah, this one. So total quality is summation of QI.
Okay, yeah, got it. Sum of all the individual qualities.
Yeah.
So basically, we are running max if on the quality only to get the minimum to, what do you say, two workers of minimum quality, right? Sorry,
I have,
maximum quality.
I have,
Optimum quality, I would say. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I have used the maxip for obtaining W by Q. Like I have inserted these W by Q ratio.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you actually, you know, share your implementation?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So first I'm finding the ratio, and basically I'm storing a vector inside
Harshit,
a
I
vector.
don't see anything you're sharing here.
Yeah, the screen is not.
Yeah.
So I've maintained this vector of vector, where, as you said, that I'm kind of keeping a pair, where this first is the ratio and the second is the quality. And then I sort this array. So by default, if you sort this without a comparator, it sorts on the first element.
Right. On the ratio.
But I have made this constructor also like comparator. I'm not using it anywhere.
Okay.
So coming to this priority queue, this is a max heap. Now I'm going to every worker, in my sorted array. I select that worker. I add the quality. Worker of one would give me the quality, because I'm storing the quality also here. And I keep on doing this till I hit this, when my size is equal to k. Right. So
Yeah.
I find out the minimum using this, my previous res and q sum, which I've been computing cumulatively, and this worker of 0. So this worker of 0 is the ratio, basically, that is WF by QF, fixed ratio.
You're right. That's the
So
ratio, correct? Yeah.
yeah. So I find my answer as soon as my heap size becomes k, and the next thing I do is I pop that also, because I also have to iterate over the rest of the array of workers. So I pop that particular ratio, and I also remove that from this q sum, that heap. So Santosh, you were right. I think I'm maintaining a heap of this only, quality only.
Yeah, you're maintaining heap also. But one thing I'm not getting, why do you want to pop it before you calculate?
No, I calculate my answer here,
Okay.
then I can pop
Then
it.
you pop it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the next time I would be inserting my next larger WF by QF, the maxi here,
Yeah, you go back again and plan to do it. Yeah.
and
Yeah. So then you get a min so far on line 31. every time when you get to a size of k.
Yeah.
Because so you will always have an optimum qualities based on the ratio, correct? And then you are going to use that same quality, whatever you are summing that in Q sum, and then you are actually multiplying by the current workers ratio. So that will be the wage which will be at least equal to the minimum wage of that worker, or maybe more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More than or equal.
yeah.
Is it a greedy approach or what?
Yeah, you can say that.
Looks like, yeah, from overview of the
Yeah, that is what they are saying. Yeah, in the solution also, it's like a greedy approach. Yeah, and the way he has implemented is almost the same. Yeah,
trying to
but
build a
I'm not.
minimum.
Yeah, but when we put into a heap, then things slightly change, though. But yeah, it's more optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, what n log n plus O of n. So
N log n plus n log k.
n log b. Sorry. Oh,
N
for
log k.
yeah.
Also, you are
Overall, n.
saying sorting will be n log n. That is what you
Yeah.
are saying on line 20.
Yeah, this one. And
Uh,
we are maintaining this heap of size k. So that
hmm.
will be n log k.
Yeah, but then it will be n log n only, correct? So because that is the max. Hmm.
Yeah.
So we are maintaining a max heap of quality, correct, in this case.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Quality. We are using that ratio
Mhm.
using this array.
Mhm. But in the solution, if you look, they are not actually using it the way you have done, because here actually I could understand. But in the solution, if you look for the heap, it is very different and it's very more complex. You know, the heap, they actually do some, they maintain something negative of values of that quality. Well, it's slightly complex to follow, but this was a very neat solution, I would say.
Negative. I think.
Yeah, if you look at line 13, pool.offer.worker.quality, it's negative of worker quality. Yeah,
It
they might
decrease.
be doing it to make it more efficient, because they actually remove something, add something in line 14, right? Because if you add a negative value, you are removing it, right? So something like
Yeah.
that they're doing that. But it becomes more trickier if you actually use something non-standard. It might be efficient for the production code though, but if you want to explain it, or we want to actually make sense logically, right? So it's not very easy. So I like the way Harshit did. He's actually using that Q sum, and then he's subtracting from the value of qp dot top, right, on line 32. So that's more easy to follow.
Yeah. It's a bit more like
Yeah, it's
intuitive.
it's it's very very straightforward, right? The way he did first, he made a ratio of all those and then sorted them, and then just use some maxi.
Max it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the way we were doing
yeah.
exactly.
It's more simpler also. Now the problem, you know, looks to be more simpler, though it's not that simpler. Yeah, but if you look at the
After this.
implementation, the way he has done, yeah, or else very hard to even understand the problem.
Yeah. The way they have. I mean, fewer words they have given. Like lot more content is there hidden inside it.
Yeah, because it's like you have to have a max of a value also, but you have to find a min of a max value, something like that, right? And the quality and the wages, they are inversely proportional to each other, because if the quality increases, your wage also will increase. But you don't want someone whose wage is too high and quality is also too high, because if the quality is high, the wage also will increase. You know, so you will have to have some optimum, and in that case, actually, this ratio comes into picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice problem though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it can be asked. I mean, not can be asked in the interview. Which company is like this?
Absolutely.
Google.
Google. Yeah, whenever it is bit weird. So
So all these real life application based questions, Google.
Yeah.
so 30 means what? 30 times it has been asked.
Maybe.
Right.
Oh. So it might be just for their phone screen like this. They just use these things.
Sorry.
It might be they are just using these things for a phone screen.
Might be.
Yeah.
False screen meaning I didn't get that point.
Phone. They just first screen you on the phone, right?
Oh, phone screen. Okay, got
Phone
it. Yeah.
screening, yeah. The very initial interview.
So these questions are used in phone screen.
No, I'm just saying, it might not be.
I
I'm just trying to be more sarcastic, yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. In that way. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, I think they might be asking very simpler. Might be
I don't know.
phone telephonic. I think, yeah.
Okay, let's move to our next problem if we don't have any questions on this one.
Yeah, I think we can switch to next.
Okay.
Yeah. So next, go ahead. Any questions like? Okay, let's start then.
Yeah.
So next is permutation in string. So two strings are given S1 and S2, and we are supposed to write a function which will return true if S2 second string contains any permutation of the first one. Where like BA is contained over here, and again you can see, I mean, O is coming in between B and A, so it's false. So constraints are like it will have only lowercase, and length of both the string is 1 to 10k. Yeah. So
we have to find that S1 string is present in S2. So it has to be a substring. Okay, and it can be in any permutation.
yeah.
Okay. So the best way would be like, to form all permutations of an S1, okay, and then actually run through S2 for a size of that particular S1 string in S2 every time, and then see if any of those permutations fit into that.
Substring of S2, yeah.
Right, the substring of that particular length, and then just take that S2's substring with a size of S1 and compare them with each and every permutation. If you are able to find, yeah. Okay, one thing we did not clear the requirements is whether it's going to be only lowercase, uppercase.
Lowercase only.
They have said it very clear, right? Okay. And the string size is 1 to 10,000, yeah. So it is a big one. Yeah. So that is the best. Okay, but if you do permutations of a string size of 10,000, it will be huge, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's too much.
TL in that case, generating permutations and checking substring.
Yeah.
Or the other way around also, like take every 2-length string from S2, check and do all the permutations of it and check if it is equal to S1. That would be.
So, but it will be the same thing, right? If we do permutations.
Yeah. Only thing is like, no, there won't be any optimization in it.
Yeah.
So to extend to the same idea, maybe we can take the substring of length S1 in S2. So for example, S1 length is 2 in the first example. Then we take first two characters in S1, S2, which is E and I, and just keep the count of each letter. And if the count matches first string count,
So
I mean,
hash map you are
first
trying to.
maybe array of 26 letters because it's only small letters. So A to Z. So count number of A's, count number of B's, count number of E's, like that. So in this case, number of E's is 1, number of I is 1. In S1, A is 1, B is 1. Does not count, but does not match.
Trying to
Okay.
follow some anagram property. Frequency of each character is same in that length.
Yeah. Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, that will be more efficient way of doing it.
Optimized.
Yeah, that's good.
We can also do some sort of sliding window kind of approach.
Yeah, that is what Santosh mentioned. Like generate all the permutations of S1 and then do sliding window
No.
on it.
No,
Say,
it's like something different. Yeah.
Okay.
Say for the first string, second string, you have the character count of E and I. Now that doesn't match the character count of first string. So then you move to a second window. You subtract E but add D.
Oh,
Right.
Which
So
is
that
like
would something.
Good.
Yeah. So that would be order n generation of sliding window, and then I think order n comparison.
yeah, that is what the previous approach it was, right?
Yeah, but Himanshu, one thing. So whenever you have a particular window, you will be comparing it, right, with the other string.
Yes. Yes.
So every time we'll be comparing two hash maps.
Exactly.
So actually, yeah.
Right. So I think that would not be completely linear, but yeah, this is a good approach.
If we know that the size of the character set is 26, then I think that will be linear.
Size of sorry, come again.
If the character set is only lowercase characters, then we have only 26.
Okay.
Yeah, they mentioned lowercase.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it will be constant space kind of. No?
Yeah, but Harshit, when Himanshu said hash map, right? So if it is an unordered map, so that also should be okay, right? Because it's O of 1 we are going to access.
No, but we would be comparing two hash maps, right? One hash map would have the characters of S1 and one would have the characters of the current sliding window of S2. So every time we'll be comparing two hash maps. So when we compare two hash maps, I think the keys and the values are compared.
No. Okay. So since we already know that we have 26 characters, we don't need a hash map. We just keep an array.
Yeah.
And
okay. Yeah. So actually, Komal was saying almost the same thing, right? Yeah,
But he's adding sliding window concept in this.
Yeah. So he's adding the sliding window. Yeah.
So you will be also using same sliding window. Without sliding window, how will you do?
No, I mean, I was suggesting the thought, like considering two characters at a time, and then he extended to the thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So any one of you wants to actually share your approach if possible?
I don't have.
Okay. Himanshu, you have?
no, I don't have Santosh. Sorry.
Okay.
I can share. I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the size of the smaller string len. And if either of them is 0 or if the len is greater than S2, then I'm returning false. Now I'm maintaining two hash maps, one for the S1 and one for S2. So the first thing I do is I hash all the characters of S1 and S2 till this point.
Right. Okay. The length of the S1.
Right. So first thing I do is I check it. So for example, if this had been, say, instead of EI had it been BA or AB, then I would have returned true. Like my flag would have been 1. I would have come out of this loop, and I would have returned true. So I'll explain this part, like why I'm doing this later.
Okay.
So coming to this line. So this is like the sliding window thing. I am adding this one. So if here the length is 2, right? And my I is 0. So I'm adding 0 plus 2. S2 of 0 plus 2, that is this one. D.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
at-
the sliding window. Okay. Uh-huh.
And I'm deleting E, S2 of 0. Basically, I'm maintaining that much length in my hash map, the length of this S1.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just, I mean, another check. Like if this is 0, then I'm simply erasing it. I could have used a set or anything like that.
No, set won't be possible. You will have to always use a map only in this case, right?
Order will be lost otherwise.
Yeah, so I think this,
Frequency.
I mean, the way I'm checking this can be done in a better way, like checking and then erasing.
Okay.
Maybe there's one short way of doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I keep on doing this for this part.
Right. Okay.
And for the last character, say for this one, like if it is, I'm here. So I'm like, okay, I'll have to take an example. So if my EID be a triple O, so I'm going till my I is going till 0 to S2 dot size. S2 size is 8. 4, 8 minus 2, 6. So I'm going till 0 to 5. Right. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So basically, my last window, double O, I'm not checking that in this for loop because I'm exiting as soon as this becomes true. So for that, I have kept this condition out of the loop.
Okay. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. So you have to check it somewhere. So you are actually doing it at the bottom. Mhm.
Right.
And I think for loop you can run only till the length of S2 minus length of S1, right?
Yeah.
Because he cannot add anything beyond that size. So therefore he is doing it at the end. Yeah. That is the reason he is taking that break. Yeah. Yeah. This is good. Yeah.
So-
You could do some optimization.
What
Yeah.
is not clear, how are you comparing two arrays here? Like scene equal to scene 2?
This point?
Yeah, like scene is an array, right?
No,
No,
he's
it's a
using
hash
map.
Is using map. Do you guys see that? I mean, this particular implementation is simulate standard algorithm.
Which one?
The whole implementation.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We
didn't get
learned that-
Praveen. What algorithm you're talking about?
We learned that yesterday, right? Rabincarp.
Okay, so you are saying that we can do this, implement
No.
this one using a Rabin
He's
curve?
doing the same thing. I mean, what we do in rolling hash.
Right. I get it. Basically maintain a hash, hash of every substring, right?
Right.
So you are deleting one character and adding one character from front.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is a sliding window approach, right? But rolling hash comes something different.
No, rolling hash do the same thing. It's a window kind of window thing. Sliding.
Yeah, but here he's actually using an unordered map, and then he's comparing. But
So what I'm
rolling-
saying that the algorithm is more or less same, like what Rabincarp do that.
Okay, yeah,
So
you
it-
can say that. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But when you said about yesterday, I think Arpit, right? Yeah. He was, so he was explaining the Rabin curve, the rolling hash is slightly different way of implementing though. It is slightly more intense, right? Because now everything is taken care by the unordered map, so we don't know under the hood what it does.
He's just keeping the
we will have
count
to do.
only here instead of the character.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's good actually. It's
Yeah.
good to compare that over. Yeah.
With the hash, like we find the hash and then we
Uh-huh.
use the sliding window.
Yeah, but we could actually implement exactly the rolling hash what he described yesterday, right? So that would have been more efficient instead of using a
No,
map.
your permutation you have to check also. No,
Yeah.
that is the problem.
Oh, okay.
Exact pattern if you have to get, you could have used rolling hash.
Correct. So then that it won't work. Yeah, that's true. You're right, Shashank.
Or we can generate all the permutations of S1 and then apply rolling hash.
No, that will be too expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the way actually Himanshu was saying, right, we could use a array instead of an unordered map. That would be more better, or this is okay,
26
or almost
letter.
both of them same.
No,
I mean, in terms of runtime complexity, I don't see there will be any change.
Yeah. But if you look at the constant, they say that the size of string is 10,000, and yeah, I think that should be okay, because
Yeah.
even the vector what we are using, it's an dynamic array, right? So they also might be having a lot of stuff under the hood.
No, but Santosh, the input has a limited number of character set, right? All small.
Mm-hmm.
So the array, what I think he's thinking that just to have a 26 character.
Yeah, so array size won't increase.
Yeah, so the
same, yeah.
only benefit, I mean, here we are getting that we are not writing our own code to compare the array that we borrowed from STL at line 23.
Yeah.
Comparing the set.
But I think that this method is general, and like array is only suitable when we have only lowercase letters. Consider if we have uppercase letters, then this implementation would be much better.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. Even maybe other than uppercase, if you have numericals and all that stuff also, so this will be more better. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. But if in interviewer say that all lowercase, so I believe he expect that you should go with array.
Mm-hmm. So he's hinting that way. Okay.
Yeah, you should consider the input.
Mm-hmm.
So in array, rather than characters, we'll be putting the ASCII values only, right?
Yeah, we just have to use the index.
Subtract the
index as a key and the value as a same like you are having here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good. Yep, thanks. Yeah.
So,
yeah, Praveen,
what was the time in the lead code for this?
You mean to say the time complexity?
Yeah, I mean lead code time, that the runtime time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, just a minute. $32 milliseconds.
And in terms of percentage?
Faster than 42.18% of C++ online submissions.
40, right?
42, yeah.
Then that's acceptable. That's a good solution then.
Yeah.
Personally, I consider.
Yeah, if you use array, it might be slightly lower. I think I'm not sure though. Yeah, maybe because it depends, right?
I think it should be. We can do the same way. Vector also has the comparison operator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, no problem. So time complexity is good. Yeah.
So next is our DI string match. So we are given a string S and it contains two letters increase and decrease, and we are supposed to return any permutation of the numbers such that if there is an increase, the next character should be bigger than previous one, and if it is a decrease, the next character should be lesser than the previous one, like ID. So if I is there, that means the next character 4 is greater than 0. If D, then 1 should be less than 4. Again I, 3 should be greater than 1. And if it is D, then 2 should be lesser than the 3. Yeah, here it's increasing. So next character 1 increasing than 0, 2 increasing than 1, and 3, so on. And here decreasing and then increasing. So constraints is like you'll have only 2 characters, I or D, either of them. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the examples, example 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So I think then the problem becomes more easier to understand and implement, right? If in an interview, if they don't give an example, so we'll have to come with these examples, correct?
Yeah.
Unless and until we don't come with these examples, okay, it doesn't strike us, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Earlier I thought indexes, these are the of the string 0, 1, 2, 3. But how come 4 is coming? But now when I look carefully, it is like permutation of these numbers we have to play with. So these numbers could be anything, right? Why only 1, 2, 3, 4, 0? It could be anything. I can take from 5, 6, 7, 8.
The question.
No, it's given
Like any permutation of from 0 to n.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is what is specified.
And it's the length of string.
So you have to use exactly those numbers. So I would say in this problem, they are not going to give you the examples for sure, but this is a good way of actually discussing with the interviewer and get all these different type of examples. One will be like the alternate way, what is done for example 1. Second would be incrementing, and the third might be the decrementing one, straightforward, something like that. And then actually we only will come to know about how to implement it, right?
Yeah.
Or just looking at the question, it's not possible. So therefore, they say always, whenever you get such problems, if they are very ambiguous, you start writing on a board and keep discussing with different examples, and then eventually you'll come with a solution. So this is a good example of that thought process. That is what I think, yeah. That is the way I understood looking at the examples. It was not very straightforward to understand just by reading the problem statement.
They won't give us example, right? We have to come up.
Yeah, so we just whiteboard that, and that would be, I think they would be expecting. Yeah. So whiteboarding is very important. That is what even Praveen also used to push us for that, right? Earlier. Yeah, that is good. Yeah. So what do you think in this now, looking at the example and all that?
So it's like whenever you see increase, whatever you have previous value, try to get always highest number in the given range as the increased one. Like when I saw increase, so 0 to n, which would be the highest number? 4. So I'll try to put 4 so that I'll be on the safer side.
So like the way I look at for the example 1, whenever I see an I, okay, I start with the lowest number, okay, because I don't know what's going to be the next one, whether it will be D or I. And then whenever I hit on any of the D, so every time I start the D with the highest number and then keep on decrementing. And if it is I always use from the lower number and keep on incrementing. Right, something like that.
The lower which you have seen during the first increase, right?
Yeah. So maybe I have 2 counts. One is I and C value, which actually start with 0. And then the other one would be decrement value, which I start with n. Right. So whenever I start, traversing this array, input array, and whenever I see I, okay, So I just put this I and C value there, okay, and then increment it. And then whenever I see D, okay, so I just put this DC value and then decrement it. Something like that.
But are you not like considering your A of I plus 1?
A of I plus 1. But see, whenever I see I, okay, if I take the least value, whatever I have currently at my in the current state, so even if I have D or another I, so I will always pick up, if it's an I will always pick up the greater value than what I've put in here, right? Or
Right.
if it is going to be D in I plus 1, so automatically I will be taking from the back side, right? I will be starting from the reverse side, right? But yeah, it's this is I'm looking at the examples. I'm writing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first time when you see an I, so do you put 0 or do you put 1?
I will put 0.
Okay,
The least
after
value.
putting it, you are incrementing it.
Right, because it's the post incrementer, right? Post decrementer.
So what advantage that gives putting the least one, so that in future you won't have trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we could have taken 1 also at I, but again we may face that in future that if another I comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are better ways to do it, I'm sure, because we actually should compare with the I plus 1 value, right? That is what they are saying every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is always good to look for whether the next one is I or D. Based on that, you can select the value. That will be an optimum way also of doing it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if somebody wants to share like for any optimization in that process method.
Well, I would say you will always have to traverse the whole input array. So you will have to do a linear, it will always be linear time complexity. Yeah. So other than that, you won't be able to do any optimizations. Nothing much in that, right? It doesn't look that complex also, correct?
Yeah. Do you want to share?
No, you go ahead actually. That is what I would say.
Yeah, it's just one and the same thing, like whatever you are saying. Whenever I'm saying, what do you say, increment, I'm just appending that particular I and increasing 1 for the next, what do you say, next time when you hit the I. And similarly, if you see D, then J minus 1 we are doing. I mean, append that J and decrease J minus 1 for the next one and append it to your, finally, the latest element you'll append to your, this, what do you say, answer and then return the answer.
But why are you doing that on line 15?
It's like if we don't keep length, how, I mean, it won't decrease next time, right? It will come here, it will decrease it. So the current element that you have decreased, that has to be appended to your answer, right? It's like,
but you are doing on line 12, right?
Yeah, I'm doing
12 and 9. Okay.
But how are you sure that at the end we'll have the decremented value only?
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part too you are missing. The last value we are missing, right? The last updated value. Yeah, what were you saying, Harshit?
So if so in this example, at the end we had a D, right? So if we had an I, then shouldn't the value of I be appended, like instead of J in line number 15?
But that I'll be taking care here itself, right? Next, I mean, till the end of a string, if it, because I've started with I, that's why I'm using J. If I start with J, then I'll have to append with, I mean, end with I. So we can try that test case. You're saying,
Yeah, I understand. Why are you hard coding that value to j only? You could do it with either of I or j. You'll have to compare that, right?
but with whom I'm starting? Like I've started with I, so I'm appending j. If I'll start with j, then I don't. I mean, in that case, I'll have to append I if I start with j.
Okay, but I
So 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, and then you have 5 and 4. Okay, so what happens when he starts decrementing and incrementing? So both the values at the end are the same, right? So either you use I or j, it doesn't matter, correct?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I was missing.
Mhm. That's good. Yeah, so it works either way. But this is a very easy problem if we understand the examples, or if we just look at the problem statement, it's not so straightforward. Means to come up with any solution, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep, good.
Any other approach for this, like apart from this?
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's a normal, like.
But like, I didn't find it really intuitive. I mean,
This was last one, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I was trying to sort first and then pick something from the first and the end, but something was not working there.
Sort? Why sort?
So the way you have done, like for decreasing, like so sort first and like use a 2-pointer approach, somewhat like that, but that was not working.
Okay.
And also, like, why I should start with 0? You asked, right? So why I should start with 0 and then for I, and why I should start with n for d? That is also not very straightforward to come up.
Right.
Unless you see this example. And now if you look at this example and it's the output is given, therefore we are able to correlate, right? If we have to write the input and make output on our own, that will be the real problem solving.
It will fall into medium.
So with this, I couldn't understand the word return any permutation. So what other possible solution for example 1?
I think that this is the best way to return, I would say.
There is only one permutation for this.
I mean, other than that, so it says that any permutation. So I mean, can we think of any other solution for this one?
Yeah, definitely there might be. If you
really
return any permutation of this, they are telling, not any permutation of the answer.
No, but that is what it comes to, right? If it's a permutation of A, either you return 0 to n, or you return what you have said in this example 1, correct?
Yeah, so this is a permutation only. This part is a permutation of this entire numbers of A, right?
Yeah, but what Praveen is asking, is it possible to have other permutation other than 0, 4, 1, 3, 2? Is it possible?
You can exchange 4 and 3. I'm guessing it is also the same idea.
I don't think that would be possible.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if you exchange 4 and 3, then
0, 3, 1, 4.
If we take a basic example like all i's, I, then also in that case there would be only one sequence, 0, 1, 2, 3 till the end.
Yep.
So they were saying that swap 0 and 3.
No,
4 and 3.
4 and 3.
0, 4 and 3, then it should not work actually. So you are saying that if we say that 3, 1, 4, 2, right?
0, 3, 1, 4, 2.
Okay, 0, 3, 1.
Yeah,
4.
that's
yeah, that works. You're right.
Yeah, that's 0, 3, 1, 4, and then 2. So first is increasing. So it is increasing. then decreasing, then again it is increasing, and then. But in case of what Harshit was mentioning, if all the three are I, and I.
But that was a special case. I mean, you cannot be sure. I think
0, 1, 2 you will write, right?
0, 1, 2, 3. So in that case also what we can do is 1, 2, 3, 0 also it should be possible, correct? Or no? No, they are not incrementing. Yeah.
1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 0. No, it won't be because then it's decrementing at the end.
Yeah.
So in this it is right. It's only one way to do.
And why we are taking this one extra digit? Like
that is what they said. You have to go from 0 to n.
You have to prove that.
We don't know why they're saying. Maybe they are saying okay, I plus 1, right? So that is what they are expecting.
so. Uday, can we generalize this? Like, I mean, or will it be for? I mean, we'll have
this
to
example looks like
that we can have multiple permutations.
Okay, let's try here. This one.
Here ID is the string is repeating. I mean, so you can have so it's like repeat. If you take ID as a graph, that graph is like repeating. You can think it like that. So that, but if there is an ID, it's not. It won't match. I mean,
Your voice is a bit low.
there's a network issue. Sorry.
He's saying that graph is repeating, increasing, decreasing, and again same thing is repeating, increasing, decreasing. That's why it's working.
Okay, so if you have a pattern like that, that is what he's saying.
Yeah.
If you have a pattern like ID, right? So that's the same repetition. So if you have those two buckets of ID, we can easily swap them.
But that's again specific to that pattern only, right?
Yeah.
Because in the third example.
But that pattern can be existing many places, right? In the third example, if you have DDI, if you have another DDI.
No, if you swap here with 3, it will work, right? Third one.
No, okay. If we extend the third example to, if we add another DDI to that, correct? So DDI. So in that case also we should be able to find a pattern, and then we should be able to swap two values.
So the things are repeating here. Okay.
That is what I would think the logic what Uday is coming to.
So if there is a no repeat of pattern, then
yeah, but I'm not sure if DDI if we actually have will surely we'll be able to swap two values and get that. But yeah, but that is what he is looking at. Look at the patterns, and if the patterns are repetitive, so we can form two different distinct buckets and then try to swap two values. In this case, the D values he is swapping. So maybe two D values we can take and then just try to swap. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to try that, yeah.
But here again, if you swap 1 with 3, it is working in third.
1 with 3? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, can you just take DDI twice and just run it and see if you can. Okay, so now if we try to swap 5
1
with 1, will that work? 6 1 0 3. Yeah, it should. No,
it will work.
It's going 3 5 2 at the end.
It won't.
No, it's a problem here. Decreasing it is 3 and 5. That will create a problem.
Okay, so what Uday you're suggesting?
So if we swap 0 and 3, then
0 and 3, 6 5 3 4. No, because 1 is more, right?
No,
Decreasing again.
You can actually swap 6 5 and 4 3.
6 5 and 4 3. Okay, all the DUC is trying to swap. Okay, instead of 6 5, you take 4 3 0 and 6 5 1. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So in the earlier one also, he was swapping the D values. So if we just swap the two D values together, because then we'll lose the sequence if we just swap a single D in this case.
If there are 3Ds, we'll swap all the 3Ds with the next 3Ds, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's a good observation. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Uday.